Welcome back to Little Bits Kitchen. I want to bring you recipes that my family has enjoyed for years. Everyday food, easy to fix, easy on your pocketbook. I hope that you will like them too. Today, we're going to make easy oven roasted tomatoes. They're naturally sweet, rich in flavor, and you can use it in just about any recipe. Oven roasted tomatoes are simple to prepare and have many tasty uses. Use any type that you have. I have some big ones from my husband's garden. Little cherry tomatoes from our friend's garden. And these little indigo heirloom tomatoes. This big one has my name all over it. I'm going to sprinkle it with a little salt, grab a box of wheat thins, and that'll be lunch. So today we're going to use the heirloom tomatoes and the little cherry tomatoes. Move this to the side. Okay, usually what I do is take a tomato, any size, doesn't matter if it's my lunch tomato or a little one. You're going to half it in half. Be sure to take out the stems. Don't want any of that into your tomatoes. You can take a little spoon or any little utensil that you have. Scoop out the juicy seeds, and in our case, I scoop these into a strainer. My husband wants to reuse the seeds in next year's garden, and plus, we get all the natural tomato juice. You can put that into ice cube trays, freeze them, put them in a Ziploc bag, and save it for whenever you're going to make soup or any kind of recipe where you need extra flavor. So we scoop it out, place them cut side up on a tray, on a oven-safe dish, lined with parchment or foil. I've sprayed it with oil, and then I've laid down my tomatoes. So we just scoop them out. Mainly you just do this because you don't want your tomatoes to boil. You want them to roast in your oven. So just do the best you can. Pour out the little bits of juice that come to the top of your tomato after you scoop out those seeds. Look at those seeds. That'll be a lot of tomato plants next year. Now with our little ones, I've just sprinkled them onto my tray. The ones that are extra tiny, if you don't want to cut them in half, you just stab them with your knife so they don't explode in your oven. And they're ready to go. We can sprinkle them with black pepper. We especially like the Southwest Chipotle blend of Mrs. Dash. It adds so much flavor, and you're not putting extra salt on your tomatoes for if you use them in some kind of a recipe. So we are going to sprinkle some with our Mrs. Dash. These little ones, lots of pepper, just because we like them that way. You can also use lemon pepper. That little zip will bring out a lot in your tomatoes. A little bit of basil, if you especially make a lot of Italian food. So after you get your spices on, whatever you want to use. Another note, if you do use, here we go, fresh basil or even these dried leaves, they have a tendency to turn very dark in the oven and might look like you have little bits of burned pieces on your roasted tomatoes. So wait till they're almost done to use that. After you have your spices, what you're going to need to do, drizzle on just a little olive oil. And of course, I have another big tray here. So I'm going to do the same exact thing for those. Except on this one, I'm just going to use salt and pepper and olive oil. So these will be ready for the oven. You can preheat your oven to 400. You're going to roast them in your oven for 40 to 45 minutes until they start to caramelize and smell like they're cooking. Don't worry, you'll have a lot of juices that kind of burn on the bottom of your pan. Don't worry about that, because what you're going to end up with is your roasted tomato. So off to the oven we go, and we'll be right back in 40 to 45 minutes. We are back. Our tomatoes have been in the oven for 45 minutes. Then I let them cool for 10 before I messed with them because they are ripping hot. And you'll notice there are on the bottom of your foil or parchment, whatever you use, it's going to turn black like that. That's just the juices coming out in your tomatoes. That's what makes it taste so good. So there's our tomatoes. And I'll show you a few things I put together. I made a little panini sandwich with cheese and the roasted tomatoes. And it's gooey and good, and I think you'll like it. I don't have a panini press. I do have a George Foreman grill, and I just used it for my panini sandwiches, and it turns out great. You'd like that too. I've also made just a tomato and green onion open-faced sandwich there. Just tastes fresh and good. This one is some of our roasted tomatoes with Gouda cheese. Got the cheese nice and crispy, and they're delicious that way. Here's a little tray. If you do have someone over, or maybe for brunch, you can have a tray with some cut baguette slices, your tomatoes, cheese, and here I have some of our last year's jalapenos that I pickled. And that's just a few things you can make with these. These are also really good in pasta and just give it such a bright taste. And you can store these roasted tomatoes. Just put them in a regular mason jar with a lid, or any kind of lidded container that you have. I don't think I'd put them in plastic though. Put them in to a container, and you can put these into your fridge, and they'll be good for at least a week. Or you can also place these into an ice cube tray or a Ziploc bag and put them in your freezer. They will, if you take them out of your freezer, let them sit, don't disturb them until they're thawed, and they taste great, especially like in pastas or, you know, any kind of main dish like that, or with fish or chicken. Of course, they won't look this good because they've been frozen, as you would anything that you want to keep longer, but they're great on any type of seafood or chicken, even pork. So there you have it. Easy oven roasted tomatoes, and give them a try, and I think you'll love them. See you next time.